Hello, I'm Annie, and these are my musings. So, as you can see, we are talking about queer subtext today. And I've already made a video on this, and I haven't changed my mind, entirely from the views I expressed in that video, but I do think I've sort of updated my thoughts on it. So I wanted to give you an updated version of that video. So basically, for those of you who don't watch Bridgerton, Creloise is Cressida and Eloise from Bridgerton. And basically, they became friends during season 3 when Eloise wasn't talking to her former best friend Penelope because she found out a secret about her. I'm not going to spoil the show too much for those of you who don't watch it, but her and Eloise, Cressida and Eloise became friends after that. So, a lot of people online, especially in sapphic circles, ship them and want them to get together on the show. Now, will that happen? Probably not. Especially if they go with the books that are all straight couples. Which is boring to me. But, they've obviously updated that for the show. They've changed, one character, Michael, to Michaela, which I'm excited for that season, but I just cannot imagine Eloise and Philip. I'm sorry to any book fans, but I just, no, that doesn't work. It doesn't compute in my mind. So yeah, I'd way prefer her to be with, either a woman or at least a man who's, more intriguing, more interesting, more able to, keep up with her and appreciate her personality for what it is, instead of forcing her to change for society, which is exactly what she has a problem with. People, you're not understanding this. So yeah, basically, I want her to find her equal. And I don't think that Philip is that person. But in the past, when I watched season 1, for example, I didn't like Anthony at all. And then in season 2, I was like, oh my gosh, I love him. He's a great character. I feel like the character development really worked there. So, it's possible the same could happen with Philip, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure at this point, because what I've heard from the books, essentially, Eloise would have to, give up everything and Philip does nothing. That's exactly what she has a problem with in society. Why would that be a good ending for her? Why? It makes no sense to me. But anyway, so Cressida and Eloise are a ship in Bridgerton, and they're probably never going to be canon. But that does not mean that the subtext is not there, because it definitely is. And obviously Gelphie, the other ship in this title, are Glinda and Elphaba from Wicked. I have shipped them since I saw the play when I was 13. Yeah. I'm old. And I actually saw the original cast in the play, which was pretty cool. But yeah, with the Wicked movie out now and for good coming out next month, I am just all full of feelings for that couple again. And I think that, you know, what does bother me about queer subtext, I think, is that, like, so many people, because of the fact that it's not, like, specifically stated or specifically, like, made clear that these characters have feelings for each other, then these people will say, like, no, they don't. And I'm like, well, the subtext is there. You don't have to see it. You don't have to ship it. You don't have to, you know, have feelings about the pairings the way we do. But you also don't have to pretend that those who do are somehow doing something wrong, because we're not. It's just a matter of taste. It's a matter of opinion. It's a matter of, you know, it's very subjective shipping, right? Like, either you see the chemistry or you don't. And, you know, for queer people especially, like, not seeing a chemistry in a very stereotypical straight relationship like Eloise and Philip or Elphaba and Fiero, like, that is not necessarily a bad thing. And I'm gonna explain why. Because I think it's a natural human desire to want to see ourselves in the media and to see, you know, things that we can relate to, characters that we can relate to. And often with, you know, some straight relationships, I'm not going to say all because it's not a whole, but with some straight relationships, there's no, like, meaning behind them. There's no reason for the couple to be together besides the fact that they're straight. Like, literally, there's no, like, bigger sort of thing that brings the two people together. And as, you know, someone who is a huge fan of well-written characters and a huge fan of character development, like, I can change my mind if, you know, the characters develop in a way where it's like, oh, they're cute together, like I did with Kate and Anthony in season 2 of Bridgerton. Like, I didn't even like Anthony in season 1. In season 2, I was like, yep, him and Kate, they're great. Like, because the character developed in such a way that it made sense. And Kate and Anthony bonded over real things. But that is not the case for some straight couples. So, when people don't ship it, and when they see queer subtext, and when they, you know, prefer the subtext to the actual text, it is not meant to be an insult. It is not meant to be a sort of statement of any kind. It's just a preference, a shipping preference, if you will. And, you know, as queer people, we like to see ourselves, yes, but we also, I think, tend to like relationships to have a bigger sort of meaning behind them. To not just be like, oh, like that Avril Lavigne song where it's like, he was a boy, she was a girl. Can I make it any more obvious? It's like, that's not obvious. What are you talking about? Like, you know, like, heteronormativity is not a foundation for an actual healthy relationship. Like, it just isn't. a healthy relationship is based on mutual respect and understanding and love and all these good things. So basically, how did Creloise and Gelphie change my mind about queer subtext? In a way, well, I think they sort of made me realize that just because it's not overtly confirmed doesn't mean it's not important. And I think the reason why I prefer when things are overtly confirmed is not because, like, I think that non-canon relationships are lesser or that subtext is lesser. I just think that people tend to miss it. People tend to say, like, oh, you're making things up. You're reading into things that are not supposed to be read into. And that really bothers me as a fan of things because, you know, the whole point of being a fan is that you do care about the story, right? Like, you know, sometimes you're going to see subtext. You're going to see, you know, you're going to view a story different than someone else. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think when people try to say, like, oh, this way of interpreting the story that is very obvious and boring is the only way, it really bothers me. It does. So I do think that queer subtext is still important for representation. I do think, you know, it can help people find themselves. It can help people, you know, see themselves in a way. I do prefer canon queer couples, obviously, but I'm never going to have a hierarchy where I'm like, well, if it's subtext, it's bad. Like, I've shipped many non-canon pairings, including Gelphie and Creloise, and, you know, sometimes they're just really good. There's, you know, that way of viewing the story is just really interesting to people. And I don't think that should ever be taken away. I don't think that people should be like, well, since it's not explicitly stated in the text, it is not real and you are an idiot for thinking it is. Like, no, that's not true. Subtext exists. And also, people are allowed to have headcanons. People are allowed to have, you know, different ships than what's canon. That's a thing that's allowed. And I also think another thing that I think about subtext is when there is not a lot of representation out there, at least variety-wise, like, there's technically quantity-wise there's more, but quality-wise there isn't. Like, a lot of the representation we're getting is not good quality. And I think that, you know, when there's not that quality representation, people are going to create it, whether it's there or not. And you can't hate people for that because it's literally like just people wanting to feel seen and heard, and I think that's a natural human feeling. And I think for me, like, it took me a long time. It was a journey to realizing who I was, sexuality wise and otherwise. definitely see aspects of myself in Glinda and Cressida. And, you know, I'm not saying I'm exactly like those two characters. I'm definitely not. I'm more of an Elphaba and Eloise, but but I do think that, you know, the repression, the feeling like, oh, I have to act like this because of this, and because of society, because of, you know, all these things, all these forces of pressure that are out there. And for me, being neurodivergent only added to that, because it made it so, like, I was hiding aspects of myself, so I just kept doing that in a way. So yeah. I think that's all I wanted to say in this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.